Welcome back. I'm Tim Jones with foreclosure.com. Buying a home today feels impossible for many young Americans. The average first-time home buyer is around 40 years old, but today's guest bought a fixer-upper at just 21 years old. Since then, millions of people have watched her renovation journey online. Today, we're talking about how Daniela Gonzalez actually did it, what she wishes she had known, and why buying a fixer-upper might still be one of the best paths to home ownership today. Daniela, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
We're excited to have you. So let's dive in, okay?
Let's do it.
All right. So what made you decide to buy a fixer-upper at just 21 years old?
Oof, I get this question a lot. Before I answer fixer upper, I'll actually answer what made me want to buy a house. Because when I was actually searching for houses, interest rates were through the roof, and I was just like everybody else. I was going to wait till interest rates went down. And it's funny because now I have a friend that bought a house 4 years before me, and we have the same interest rate.
Mm,
So so it didn't matter how much time I waited, the interest rates were the same. So I think that people need to focus a little bit less on interest rates and just buy the house. They say date the rate, marry the home.
hmm.
So I married a fixer-upper. And believe it or not, I actually didn't plan to. So I'll give you a little backstory. When I decided to start my home search journey, I actually looked at three houses in one day with my
Mm.
realtor. And one of those three, I ended up submitting an offer on, and it was this one, and I got it. And this doesn't happen often that you only submit one offer and you get approved, but
Yeah.
God's plans are greater than yours.
Yeah, that's great. Sometimes when you know, you know.
Right.
So your videos have reached millions of people, and I know they're still waiting for the next video to come out. It seems like that's the question
Yes.
you keep getting. But other than that, what's the one question people keep asking you over and over again?
Yeah, besides when am I going to post the next video? It's definitely how was I able to afford a house at 21?
Mm,
I mean, all the time. Almost every day I get asked that question.
yeah, I get that.
Hmm.
And so what do people misunderstand about buying their first home? I know you mentioned interest rates, but what was the something that surprised you about the beginning, getting the process started?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have a couple thoughts, but I'll spare you the time. I think two things that I think people misunderstand when buying their first home is number one, how much money it actually costs. Being a first-time home buyer comes with a lot of perks, especially if you do an FHA loan. It allows you to put no money down. But if you want to save, the additional MIP, the mortgage insurance protection, if you just want to save some cost there, you can always go conventional, which is actually the route that I went. So when I
Mm.
bought my home, I bought conventional and I didn't have to put 20% down, which is what most people think.
Yeah.
I ended up putting, I think, 3 or 5% down.
Okay.
And even with going with a conventional loan, I actually got granted $8,000 for being a first-time home buyer.
Wow.
And that actually brings me to my second point, which is do not skip out on having a realtor to cut cost.
Mm. Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to do that because they can do the research themselves, go on Zillow, foreclosure.com and look at houses and just, make an offer on their own. But my realtor, and I'll shout out Eddie Lopez, he's awesome. He got me a new roof, new water heater, an entire replumb, and he was kind enough to split his commission with me as a
Wow.
closing gift.
Wow.
And because of all of that, my house was actually appraised 30K over before the entire remodel. So not only did I
Wow.
get a bunch of free stuff, but then I also walked in with equity.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I mean, most people assume you have to have wealthy parents or a huge down payment. So,
Mm,
how did you actually prepare financially to buy your first home? Yeah, I know you mentioned
yeah.
3.5%, and I know you have
Mhm.
another job other than your recent TikTok fame. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, at your age, it's this incredible accomplishment. So, can you
Hmm.
other people that are trying to do that, any tricks and tips you can share?
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny when people ask that, I feel like they think I have like a magic secret answer, but I don't have huge income. Well, I didn't have huge income at the time, and I don't have wealthy parents. So when I knew that I wanted to make buying a home a goal, I actually sat down with my financial advisor and we created a plan for it. Which, funny story, after we did the math, we sat down how much we're going to need to save and, the time horizon that we had. She told me it was going to be impossible to buy a house in 2 years.
Okay.
And so I asked her, I said, okay, well, how much money am I going to need? She gave me the number. The next day, I went to my boss and I sat down with her. And, they really say that your network is your net worth. And
Mhm.
that's so true because of the ecosystem that I had around me. I sat down with my boss and I told her my ambitious goal, and my annual review was actually coming up, and she supported me through and through. And she actually gave me a little bit of a raise.
Mm.
But then on top of that, I actually started doing freelance marketing work. I even picked up dog sitting for additional
Wow.
income because I treated every extra dollar that I made as money that just didn't exist. So I lived completely off of my paycheck. And my advisor would take $500 from my account every single month. I didn't even know when it would withdraw at that point. But I would throw that into my savings account. And then whatever additional income that I made that month, I would just throw that in there too. So 2 years later, I had just about, I say like around $20,000 saved up.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
That's ambitious. I don't think many people at your age are thinking quite like that. So that's great,
Yeah.
kind of sacrificing what, that immediate gratification for your future, well-being. So that's very
hmm
impressive. I definitely
Yeah.
wasn't thinking like that at 21, so good job.
Thanks.
You could have waited for a move-in ready home. Why was
hmm
buying a fixer-upper the potential right decision for you?
You're right. I could have waited. My financial advisor would have said the same thing.
Yeah.
But just like what I said earlier, God's plans are always greater than your own. Not many people know this, but the house that I actually bought, it's actually the same exact layout
Mm,
as my aunt's home,
mm,
which is one of the homes that I grew up in. She
wow.
still has it till this day. And when I took my dad with me to look at the houses, and I mean, immediately when we walked in, we just looked at each other and we were like, no way. Because we just felt like we just stepped into my aunt's house.
Mm,
And it's crazy because she lives over 20 miles away, 30 minutes away from this property. And it just so happened to be the same builder, I guess, at the time. But he actually knew before me. My dad actually knew before me that I was going to buy it because he looked around and, he inspected, he did his thing, and he warned me that it was going to be a lot of work. And I just sat there in my thoughts and he could tell what I was thinking. And he said, "You want this one, don't you?" And I
yeah.
smiled and I said, "Yes." And at that moment, I knew that I was going to buy a fixer-upper, and it was the right decision for me.
Yeah. That's great. I'm not sure everybody gets I'm assuming that your aunt had put a little work into it so you could see what
hmm
the process might look like uh,
hmm
at the after repair,
hmm
so that's great. That's important. I think a lot of people think that they're just getting ready to move into the perfect home, but they don't realize that sometimes in today's economy and just, overall, there are definitely other options out there, and putting a little sweat equity into a project, might turn out and be your best interest. So that's,
Yeah.
see, it's been a little journey now. You spent close to what, 2 years renovating at this point?
Yep.
If you can go back, what are the three biggest lessons you tell someone buying their first fixer upper?
Mm. Only three. I have so many.
Yeah.
But,
Well, if they
you
want the
live and you
rest,
learn.
we'll send them to your TikTok channel for sure.
Yes, yeah. I'd say maybe the first thing is that, well, I guess the biggest lesson I learned was that sometimes you have to put your ego to the side and just hire someone.
Mm,
You're already spending so much money when you're doing a fixer-upper that there are so many projects that my dad and I convinced ourselves that we were going to do. And most of them we did.
mhm.
We did it. But we definitely would have saved a heck of a lot of time and energy if we would have just hired someone. And sometimes the labor is worth the money, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
So I would say that. But secondly, I would say don't try to live in your demo unless you have a heck of a lot of patience and a small amount of clothes. because living in your remodel is a nightmare. I didn't
I
have a kitchen for over a year,
wow.
and I had to cook outside. And then, Florida, when it rains, then we just don't eat. We had to eat, we had to eat out a lot. And it was just a pain. So, you know, I'm sure not everyone is as crazy as I am, and is going to destroy the whole thing at the same time. But whether it's a kitchen, a bathroom, a room, I'd say just mentally prepare for the adjustment because
Yeah.
it's more of a mental game. You're
Hmm.
stepping out of your routine just for
Hmm.
a couple of months to, make your kitchen or your house look prettier. And then lastly, I'd say just kind of to my point earlier about, the whole realtor thing is don't skip out on the appraisal and hire your contractor to do your inspection.
That's
So not
very
everybody
important.
has a dad like mine, but whoever you're planning, whoever you trust to do that is going to do the work on whatever house that you buy, definitely bring them along. The appraisal will tell you the value of your property, but your contractor will tell you how much it's going to cost you, and that will give you a clear picture of if it's even worth it.
Wow.
Because my dad, whenever he was walking the house, he actually was kind of calculating things in his head, just taking into a, a factor, all of the little things that I don't see. I walk into the house and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be great. But
Yeah.
then, your contractor, somebody that's more experienced, is
Yeah.
catching those things that, just the human eye doesn't see.
Hmm.
And I'd say having a contractor will definitely save you a lot of time and a lot of money.
Okay. That's great. And it's funny you say that because I've talked to a lot of professionals that do this for a living, and they always say to have your team ready before you start. So I think
Absolutely.
that's a great point. So you touched on this a little bit earlier, but many buyers spend months looking on Zillow and
Mm.
Realtor without realizing there are other places to search. If someone wanted to find a home with potential like yours today, where would you tell them to start looking?
Yeah. So Zillow is obviously a great place,
Mm. Yep.
but what I've come to realize is that not everything gets posted on Zillow.
Mm.
So, I was lucky to find this home, right place, right time, but these quality fixer-uppers at a decent price are really hard to find on Zillow. And I mean, they just get bought up super quick by
Mm.
investors on Zillow,
Yeah.
so which is actually why I'm so glad that we met and I learned more about foreclosure.com because I would have loved to have this resource when I started looking for my house. Just foreclosure.com has so many options I just thought, I mean, when you read foreclosure.com, you just think it's houses on
Yeah.
foreclosure. But, you guys have the just to buy, just rent to own, even city owned properties.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge opportunity for people.
Hmm.
And I just think that having somewhere where you can just browse through these properties and you don't have to kind of go on a scavenger hunt all around the internet is just saves you so much time. And also, when people say they want to buy, just saying, hey, I want to buy in Florida, it's kind of like shooting darts with your eyes closed,
Mm.
besides knowing what neighborhood, the school district, property taxes, yada, yada, yada. I think that knowing why the seller is selling gives you the upper hand,
Mm. That's a great point.
which is my favorite feature on foreclosure.com, by the way, is the fact that you can look at the public records because this is something I do anyways,
Mm.
but I would have to, kind of go around town and search in different websites and go to Facebook and then searching people's
Yeah.
to figure out, why they're selling or who they are. Because I mean, I'll spare you the details, but the sellers of my property were actually trying to get out of the property really quick. So they
Mm.
disagreed with almost everything that we were asking for, and we got it. So knowing why the seller is selling their home definitely gives you the upper hand.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's something we really pride ourselves on is saving time, right? And trying to bring
Yeah,
all of these and we all obviously advise people to have a licensed professional, whether it's a contractor or a realtor to help you through the process. But, I think we try to focus on all of the different distressed listing types so that you can kind of get a picture of what's going on in the area and to start
yeah.
your due diligence. So, no, thank you so much for that. We appreciate the shout out. So you mentioned this again earlier, DIY versus hiring, doing it yourself versus hiring. Your dad had a major play in
Yeah.
this, fixer upper. How much money do you think you've saved doing so much
Mm,
work between the two of you guys?
man, I wish I asked him this question. He would definitely know. but
The labor. Yeah.
yeah. Because we've just been paying for material costs and then some things like the fence and the roof. We obviously paid for, but I don't know exact numbers. But if I had to guess, I would definitely say over 50K,
Wow.
maybe close to 100 so
Wow.
far.
And
Just, I
saved.
mean, saved for
Wow.
sure, saved for sure.
So
You
almost
know,
at least doubling your budget.
oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But well, so I stopped counting because it just hurt. It
I don't
just
want to know anymore.
it just hurt, how much I'm actually spending. And I think the
Yeah.
last time we did the calculations, I think I was at 40K, and this was
Mm.
like beginning of this year. So, I mean, just trying to look at that as like doubling that for, just labor costs. I would say around that range, but
Yeah,
I would
that makes
also
sense.
say, yeah, I would also say, talking about my dad, besides the money that, I've saved, I think that the most valuable thing is the relationship that I've built with my father,
Mm, that's good.
because I think that nothing, whether it's a spouse or a family member, I think that nothing puts your relationship to the test like building a house from scratch.
I can imagine.
Okay. And, just overall, I think that growing up, we often forget to be grateful for our family because they're
Mm,
always there.
yeah.
And familiarity can make a blessing feel ordinary. And we
Mm,
worry so much about what God does or doesn't do in our life. But if we just take a second to just look around our friends and family, there's not a lot of people whose father can build them a home, one, or whose father is even alive.
mm.
That's something that I also got in my comment section a lot.
Oh,
And
that's
I,
tough.
I just say, I mean, I just have to shout out my dad. He's awesome, and
Oh,
I'll always be grateful for my dad's selflessness during this entire project because
yeah.
he helped me build a home completely for free, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. And I'd say that the purest form of love is sacrifice without expectation.
Wow. That's wonderful. Well, I
Yeah,
hope your dad is watching this. I'm sure he's proud, but
I hope so too.
um, no, that's great. Well, we're just about out of time. But before we head out, I have one more question. Imagine someone's watching this interview. They've convinced themselves that they'll never own a home.
Mm.
What's one piece of advice you'd leave them with today?
They'll never, they think they'll never own a home, or
Yeah,
they never want to own a home.
they can never imagine themselves owning a home, right? They think they're priced out,
Mm.
affordability. What's one piece of advice you'd leave them with a little bit of hope?
I say what I say earlier. God's
Okay.
plans are greater than your own.
Okay. Well, you can't disagree with that. So, Danielle, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. If today's conversation inspired you, start looking for fixer-uppers. We've included a link below to foreclosure.com. And of course, be sure to follow Daniela as she continues transforming her home. I'll add your TikTok handle as well. Again, I'm Tim Jones with foreclosure.com, and thank you for joining us today.